It's my pleasure to welcome Shruti Mathew. Shruti Mathew Koshy has been an athlete since her childhood, badminton player, and also a former state level swimmer. Physical activity has always been her fuel. She is also a classical dancer. Shruti is an interior design and management graduate who followed her path of design from designing spaces to designing body and mind. She is passionate to her profession because she believes you need to love what you do and do what you love. It's all the mindset and perspective you choose, and also to find that balance and enthusiasm in whatever you do. An internationally certified yoga teacher and specialized Hatha Yoga mentor, the Yoga Tribe, a lifestyle coach. She has 6 years of experience helping people achieve their goals with regard to fitness, injuries, nutrition and lifestyle diseases, mental health, and therapy. A catalyst, she helps to uplift your lifestyle and soul, which I hope she'll teach us today, and design your body and mind to fit your needs. So over to you, Shruti. Welcome again.
Namaste and good evening to one and all present here. I thank you for taking out the time this evening. Thank you, Lakshmi Aunty, for that introduction. And I must offer my gratitude to Sajani Aunty for giving me this opportunity to speak today. What is the role of the mind in lifestyle? Whenever I hear the mind, I always resonate with few of the statements which I will share with you now. Mind over matter. Whatever you feed your mind, your body will manifest. Whatever you believe, you become. And everything seeds from the mind, whether it's the subconscious or the conscious. Whatever you believe becomes the truth for you. If you see all these statements, it is very directive and a dialogue to oneself. I would like to share the effect of what the role the mind plays in our lifestyle or our living by giving you true stories and facts. There will be two, one my own, and considering the situation of a pandemic, most of us have heard various information, lots on the internet, and we are in a space of uncertainty in these times. So the second story that I will be sharing is of one of my clients who was a senior citizen, tested positive, and what was his journey. Today, being World Dance Day, it gives me a lot of joy to share my story and journey with this art form. This love story began at the age of 7 and continued throughout my childhood thanks to the commitment of my mom, who would take me for my dance classes after school. It continued until I finished my pre-university, where I gave my Arangetram or a graduation as a dancer. I went on to do my undergrad in Mount Carmel College in interior design and management. Just as every individual goes into undergraduation, then goes on to find a job. I was grateful and very privileged to work with one of the most popular interior designers today. And I was given the opportunity to spend a lot of time on site, which I thoroughly enjoyed, understanding the spaces, the elements of design, the perspectives of light, and everything today that I resonate as a lifestyle coach. I did that for a year, and somewhere the enjoyment factor diminished as I would step out on my day into the office space. I did it for a year, and I sat down to ask myself, is this really what I want to do? It took a while to answer that question because as you know, society asks you about what you've studied, what you're doing now. And when you take a pause, you have more questions to answer for the outside world than your own. I took patience and time to answer the question for myself. I was grateful that my parents were a huge support system and always encouraged me to do what I love to do. So I decided that I'll take a break from the corporate life and move back to the dance platform or the space that I'd missed for a while. Design study does take up a lot of time, and I couldn't give a lot of time that I used to this art form. So I moved on under the guidance of my guru Rukmini Vijay Kumar and began my training. It was a space where I got a lot more time to get back to sport, fitness, art, and all the other extracurriculars because I had so much time on hand after my dance trainings. It so happened on one of the rehearsals, I slipped on my sweat and I fell down. It was almost like freedom taken away from me. So, as the usual setup of when you get hurt, you're in pain, you're unsure of what happened, why it happened, and there's lots going on in the mind. So we went to the doctor, we got the X-rays done, and of course, like most doctors today and orthopedics, the word that you hear soonest is it's a simple surgery. You don't have to worry about it. The moment I heard the word surgery, somehow my ears shut off to what the doctor was saying after. I got back my calm and listened to him. And I told him I do not want to open up my body because one, I cannot handle the sight of blood. So he said, no, you don't have to worry. It's a very simple surgery. Just have to put 2 pins on either side. And you're wondering what was the injury. Both my kneecaps or my patella had moved out of place. So orthopedically, according to the science of orthopedics, if your kneecap is out of place, you cannot even stand. But I was managing to stand with all the pain and the trauma. And when the doctor told me of how I was so young and I won't be able to walk, I would feel like an old lady if I didn't do the surgery. At that point, I felt with my gut instinct that there was fear being instilled into me. And I'm grateful that I listened to my inner voice and I didn't allow that fear to affect me. So I looked at my father who was sitting beside me, and he's someone who always believes in taking positives out of the situation and making the best of the situation. So I looked to him for of some sort of second opinion, and he gave me a very calming look to say, don't worry, we'll think about it. So I looked at the doctor in front of me. I closed his file and I said, Doctor, due respect to you, but I don't think I'm going to be doing surgery. So he said, in the meantime of all of this conversation, he had already prepared, the slip of the surgery when it should be done and all the tests that need to be, taken care of. So he was a bit disappointed. I could see it on his face. The fact that I just written him off all his experience and told him, well, I'm not doing surgery. So he told me, well, don't worry. You don't have to rush it. You go back home, take a few days, think over it, and you can come back to me. So we left the hospital with a lot of frustration on my side because at that point I was going through the pain myself. So I told my father, we will go to do a second opinion. And we have been seeing a sports orthopedic since all of us have been fitness and athletes. I think as an athlete and as a fitness person, injuries are like your best friend. They come and they go. So I said we'll go and see the sports orthopedic and then I will decide what's to be done. So we went and met the doctor and he checked the x-rays that we had done. Of course, the x-rays, even to date, if you look at it, you will cringe under your skin because you will see the knee and the cap completely separate from each other. Having said that, I showed it to the doctor and he said, you know what, nothing to worry, you don't need surgery. So I think that was a sigh of relief for me, for having someone on the medical side of it giving you that hope and giving you the support that, you don't have to do surgery, but there's another way out. So he told me I'll have to go through physiotherapy and strengthening of the muscles around, so that there is enough support for the knee to go ahead with the activities in the future. So we came back, and it was a lot of testing of patients. And I must say it was very painful to even stand up, walk, every time feel the shocking pain in your knees. But thanks to the support system, the positive energy backing me at home, I think I got through that first half of the battle. So we came back home, I showed it to my guru, and she was someone who had done knee replacement with her injuries. And she said, absolutely no chance of doing surgery. You take as long as possible to strengthen, to take your time and recover, but no surgery. So the no surgery kept coming with a positive aspect. And I think that gave me the fuel to believe that I can come back after this injury stronger, to be a better version of myself. So she suggested a physiotherapist, and I was going for physiotherapy for 2 months. Now, physiotherapy, as if any of you have gone through injuries, you will know it's not a very enjoyable space to be in. But you do it because your body needs it. So 2 months into painful physiotherapy sessions, I would come back crying. And I remember asking myself, if I'm going to be hurting myself further or putting myself in pain, am I really helping my body? Am I caring for my body in the right sense? And I decided I'm not going to go back to do physiotherapy. So there was a lot of things that I'd shut myself from. And I think I'm grateful that I did that. I was guided to do that because I had to find out for myself what the situation was about and what it was trying to teach me. So I'd look up a lot of testimonials, read about a lot of people who've gone through injuries, gone through rehab, gone through challenges and overcome it. And I found that every testimonial had one thing, which was the mindset that you choose in your recovery process. And I remember by chance, I came across one of the testimonials of a person called Nick Vujicic, a man who has no limbs, but still he plays golf, he's married, he has a child, he takes himself around by himself, he does everything he loves to do, and he lives his best life irrespective of not having his limbs. And I asked myself, what do I have to complain about? Here it's just two kneecaps out of place. So there was no turning back after. I think I was extremely inspired by his story and the way he leads his life, that I told myself, this is the point that you will change it all over with the right mindset. And I think doing yoga as a part of warm up and cool down as a physical, with physical activity and as a professional dancer, I never truly understood the meaning of yoga until this point. So I read about few things of what is yoga under the Yoga Shastra. And the first thing that came about was sync or union with yourself. And I think that gave me an opportunity to be patient with myself. And at that point, I had two choices. One, to be worried or scared about my situation and, question myself about why this happened. I can't walk, I can't do this, I can't do that, and all the negative things that you would do in that time. And the other choice was to look at it as, if this challenge has come to me, it's because I have the capacity to face it and I can make something beautiful out of this. So I started with very slow breathing exercises because I couldn't move. My knees would pain even when I stood up and walked. So I started reflecting about all the things that yoga talks about and the power of the mind. Today I can say I'm a living example of mind over matter. Because if you check both my knees and kneecaps today, they are still out of place. But I walk, run, swim, trek, dance, and do everything that I love to do. And that didn't happen overnight. It took me a year of patience, of forgiving myself. I think at some point I had taken my body for granted with all the physical activities that I was doing. I was doing sport, I was doing dance, I was doing everything in the open, and maybe I did too much to my body. And the only way it could tell me was to give me pain. So I started with talking to my body, asking for forgiveness, creating a space of positive energy to recover or heal. And I tell you today, with my life experience and this journey, you can live or choose anything that you want for yourself, whether it is physical, mental, or emotional. So this drove me to inspire a lot more people, because if I could recover with my own capacity, I did not take medication, I stopped physiotherapy, I did not do surgery, but I dreamt of doing everything I love to do. I visualized myself stronger. I gave my body the right care, the patience, the love, and the strength conditioning that it required. So I must say the role of the mind is such that you must have a good relationship with it. You must give it the right information. You must have a space where it does not have too much to analyze or comprehend. Keeping it simple, keeping it real is the way out to any solution. The attitude and the choices that you make really define your story or your destiny. So, having told you that story, it also gives me the opportunity to share that unless you reach rock bottom, unless you are taken away from all that you've done, you will never realize your true potential. And like they say, every failure is a stepping stone to success. Take every failure with gratitude, because it gives you the opportunity to find out a part of yourself that you've never known before. So that's my journey of mind over matter and keeping the mind with limited information, but the right kind of information that will guide you to giving you the confidence of believing in yourself. Like we spoke earlier, there's so much of information out there on Google and WhatsApp, and we don't know what is true and what is not. The second story that I'd like to share is of a senior citizen who reached out to me by chance and word of mouth. 72 years old. He could not speak English, so his son spoke to me, and he said, my father can't speak English. Do you know Kannada? So I told him, well, my Kannada is not the best, but I know that I can communicate and help him. So I told him to ask his father to call me, and he was a bit hesitant initially, because he was, he felt like if I don't know English, then I can't ask for help. So in the broken, situation, um, he reached out, and he told me his situation. He said, I had symptoms, and I went to the doctor. They tested me, positive, and now what to do? So he had prostate issues, he had insomnia, he had breathing issues, and he said, if you can help me, I would be more than glad to take your classes. So on the online platform, in 1 week's time, he was tested negative. So when they reached out to me, I told them I will request you not to take him and admit him in the hospital. And the son was a bit, he said, he has breathing issues, he has a lot of medical issues. So how do I keep him at home? And all the people are telling me to admit him. So I said, first, I think the caregivers need to calm down, because the person who's suffering already is in panic mode. If the caregivers are going to add to the situation, we are not going anywhere. So I told him, if at all anything happens, you can hold me responsible, but let him be at home. I will speak to him. I will take an hour session for him every day, and we will have him feel better. So he called me and I told him, Uncle, do not worry. You will be perfectly fine in 7 days' time. Just follow what I'm telling you to do. And I think what really worked here is my 100% belief that I could help him recover. So the confidence with which I spoke to him, I think 99% of the job was already done. His breathing issues stopped that night. He was feeling a lot more better. He was having the kashayam that I told him to have. He was able to do the chair exercises of expanding the lungs, contracting it, building immunity. He started to do pranayama, which is Brahmary. And I think most important is staying away from the information on social media. So he said, my cousins and my niece, nephew, they're sending me all this on WhatsApp. I'm watching it and I'm so scared. So I told him, you keep your phone away for 1 week, except for when you're doing the class with me. And it gave me a lot of hope that if a 72-year-old can recover in his own house with just 4 tools that can be done at home, I don't think we should worry about the situation. Having said that, that's one of the cases that recover. But what I'd like to share here is you need to tell your mind that you are going to recover. Because when the mind chooses or makes the choice to recover, the body has to listen and reciprocate in the same manner. So he came back after 1 week. I told them to go get him tested, and he was tested negative after 1 week of being at home, and he still felt very tired, which is the case of the virus. So, giving you this example, I'd like to say one is do not panic. Even if you have the symptoms, do not rush to go and get yourself tested. Do the home remedies for about a week, 7 to 10 days, right? In case you have extreme breathlessness or up and down fever, try and communicate to your doctor over the phone. Because when you go to the hospital, the energy space around there is already that is in panic. Okay, so avoiding those situations, refraining from them, keeping your space positive by reading positive things, not about the update of how many deaths, how many hospitals, what is the state of vaccination, all of this, because I think today it can happen to anybody. You can be the fittest person, you can be doing pranayama, you can be doing yoga, you can be doing all of this, and you can still contract the virus because it's out there in the open, but there's nothing to worry. Your body has the natural immunity to fight it. If you see, most of the cases are asymptomatic. It just goes to show that the virus is there in your body, but your natural immunity is fighting it. And therefore, you may not show that many symptoms of the virus. So, if a 72-year-old man can be in his house, can believe that he will recover, I think it's for all of us to sit and ask ourselves, how much do we believe in the power of our own mind, and how much of that responsibility are we taking? Okay, so having shared these two sessions, I would like to conclude by saying, keep your mind immune. Do not add extra information that's not helping you in the situation. Give your body physical exercise and activity because that creates the happy hormone in the brain, and the chemical reactions in the brain are in control. Eat well, nutritious food, a balanced diet, because what you feed your mind is also what your body manifests, and the body is in health when you give it the right nutrition. So this is a balance that you create: physical, mental, and your emotional space. Most often, the emotion trigger allows us to manifest things in the physical body. So I think for all of us today, as a lifestyle coach and a Hatha Yoga mentor, I think the most important thing that I've taken from Hatha Yoga, the most ancient form of yoga, is union, which is mind and body relationship. Also balancing of the right side and left side, which is the sun's energy and the moon's energy, or the masculine and the feminine energy. So take in some amount of physical exercise daily. Even if you are in your house, it is not difficult to walk around, right? Commit to that as a priority. Make sure you are happy. Whatever you are doing, it must give you satisfaction and joy. At the end of the day, when you go to bed, you must feel like you were productive during the day. So keeping the mind immune, keeping the mind happy also leads to the body functioning well, keeping the body happy, and eventually you can live your best life. Today, I do everything that I love and love everything that I do. And I hope that my story and my journey has inspired you in some way and has added a little value to you. In case you want to ask any questions, I open the platform out and I'm ready to answer your queries. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Shruti. That was wonderful. And we would like to know if anyone would like to ask questions, and maybe you could also teach a few of those exercises. Okay, Shruti? But let's take the questions first.
Yes.
Any questions? No? I don't see any questions on the chat also.
No,
So,
you
Shruti,
have to give some time for people to think, because mind over matter, mind is very much more subtle, matter is much more gross. So how do we really make it happen? While she told the case studies, what are some practices one should do?
Thank you for the question. May I know your good name, please?
Kiram, I am a very senior citizen.
All right. So thank you for reaching out. It is good that you asked, because it's easier said than done. When we say mind over matter, it's just a statement. And how do we get the mind to work over the material or the gross, issues? So there are mediums or tools and techniques which I will share. One is writing down positive affirmations. For example, right now I am positive, COVID positive, for example, and I have, fever fluctuation. All right, I'm feeling breathless. I have lost the smell and taste and all of these symptoms. So how does mind over matter help here? Right, so you sit with yourself, take a notebook, take a pen, preferably a black pen, and write down the affirmation like this: I am fit and healthy, body and mind. All right, so it may seem like a general statement, but when you are affirming this, you're also putting out to the matter that is around. We are made from those 5 elements of nature. All right, connecting to those 5 elements to give us the capacity to heal. So when you affirm this, your subconscious mind is also listening. Okay, and the affirmations are not just done once, but you repeat it 21 times. You would have heard this number 21, couple of places, that it is called the number of manifestation. So you can write that down. Now, just writing that down doesn't serve the purpose. You must have sync of body, mind, and action. So what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you're doing must be in sync. So as I say, I am fit and healthy body and mind. When I'm fit and healthy body and mind, when I've recovered from COVID, how am I feeling? You're feeling confident, you're feeling so inspired, you're feeling that you've done it. You've achieved something that so many people are telling you you can't. Right? And people are saying, if you have these health issues, you are a senior citizen, you must be careful. Everything is fear driven. And I will tell you this with confidence, fear is the only thing that stops you from being your best version. Because it is the biggest obstacle. The moment you are fearful, you don't believe in yourself. And therefore, you are scared that something may happen and you won't be able to be in control of your situation. So daily affirmations and the affirmation is already like, the affirmation should be such that it's already happened. So not I am going to become fit and healthy, I am fit and healthy body and mind. And this has to be done every day because you want this to happen, right? So it's not just that you write down these affirmations and leave it. Every day you sit down with that notebook, with your black pen, writing it down. Every time you write it down, you are affirming it loudly. The sound vibrations also have an effect, and you will see, you can try this out. Age, no barrier. If a 72-year-old man can recover at home, this uncle also wrote it down in Kannada. It was translated for him, and he sat down and wrote it down every day. And he wrote it down, in 1 week, I am tested COVID negative. All right. So until you do it, you will not experience it and it will not become the truth for you. So we have all the information, we have all the tools, all the techniques. But I think what we fail is when we are going through the situation, it's very difficult to apply. And you must give yourself a chance to do that. Have I cleared your doubt, Uncle?
Yeah, thank you. You are very clear. But why the emphasis on black ink? I was not clear.
So black, there is a color psychology as an effect here. If you see the color black, one, it is very crisp and clear. It has a significance of clarity. So there's absolutely no doubt. All right. So therefore, the color psychology of black also has the capacity of manifestation.
Thank you. There is a question in the chat by
Yes.
Ramesh. He says, you say that we do not have to depend on medical science for any of our physical ailments. So he wants to know that maybe because yours was of orthopedic nature, but what if
Yes.
it is something related to heart or brain hemorrhage?
I'm just going to read that, Sajani, 1 second. I'll read it aloud so that everybody can hear. Do you say that we do not have to depend on medical science for any of our physical ailments, even if it is of serious nature? It may have worked in your case of an orthopedic nature. What if it is something related to heart or brain hemorrhage? All right. So as much as medicine is a science, our body is also scientifically designed. So if you look at what I'm saying, it can be a heart issue. It can be people who've had prostate issues. It can be any physical ailment. Apart from orthopedics, I've had people who've been, with severe people I'll give you this example. People who've had cancer. Second stage cancer have recovered with the holistic way of dealing with it. If you look at our country, we have so much of riches of Ayurveda, of yoga, all of that today the Western world has adopted and videos are being made, and today Indians feel, oh yeah, it's coming from there, let us follow it. I completely respect that when you have a serious issue, it's very challenging to put trust into something that's not very known. But you have to believe in your own capacity of healing. Like I said, that's the role the mind plays, right? So, Mr. Ramesh, have I cleared it out, or do you have any questions? If you want to have this as a personal conversation, we can definitely spend some time and I can give you the confidence, explain the science behind how even holistic methods work.
What are some resources you would recommend to know further other than Deepak Chopra's books?
Sorry, I cannot hear you too well.
No, what are some resources you would recommend other than Deepak Chopra's books?
So if you look at it, I would give you the Yoga Shastra. It's a very, very vast text, but if you are interested, everything that you need to know about the design of the body and mind as per science, it will give you the solutions. So you can actually you can read it off the internet. You can just go on to get Yoga Shastra and see the different topics, and you can read through that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, Shruti,
Yes.
can you hear me? Now, it could also be a good balance, isn't it, of both allopathic and yoga and
Definitely. So I would
need
say
not necessarily be only, I mean, not that you don't consult a doctor at all. It could be a good balance and then
definitely. You know, I always tell people when you're unsure, go to a person who knows his information, right? And do not just go on to Google, because I think today Google has seemed to be taken over as the world doctor. And, you know, you don't know what is authentic, what is not, and it actually can put you off balance. So it's very right to say it's good to ask someone who's studied, right, who has experience of dealing with people who have these issues. And it's very good as a combination, because what works for me may not work for you, right? Because no two body and minds are alike. And even in Ayurveda or in yoga, we have body composition, which is Vata, Pitta, Kapha, or a combination of those, which are the 5 elements that we are made up of. So it is good to have that combination and figure what works best for you. That is very important. I say, you know, this to all my clients or people who need help, because, you know, it can just be a video of people sharing, this is good, that is good. But does it help me fulfill the need or find as a solution? So I wouldn't say write off completely the medical. It's very good to, that's why even in my case, I went to a very, very good orthopedic, one of the best in our country or in our city. But I did take a second opinion. I did go through all that I needed to go through until that really didn't work for me. And then I sat down and asked myself, what is it that will work for me to feel my best? So it is very, very essential to go and ask someone who has the experience of what they're talking about.
thank you.
Thank you, Revati Aunty.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I think Sajani, someone's asking for my contact or email. I
Yes,
think
we'll give it to
Ramesh.
them.
Yes, you can.
Ramesh wants it. We will pass it on.
No
Right?
problem.
So, any other questions?
Shruti, yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Shruti, they say the body just, the cells and everything sort of changes itself over. The body regenerates itself every 7 years. Is that true?
I would say every day.
Yeah, that's true. But, the complete overhaul happens in 7 years. Is that right?
So, like I mentioned, Mrs. Beena, everybody is different. But
Right.
it is true that your cells there are cells being born every day and there are cells dying every day,
Yeah.
right? So with the physical practices, with all of these mental health techniques, all of that, this is actually working on the cellular level.
Right.
Right? So it can be, sure, I don't know if the 7 years is the fact. I have not done my research. I won't be able to answer that for you. But I can tell you on a regular basis, as long as you are breathing, your cells are moving and changing its nature.
Right. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I just wanted to share.
I would like to ask a question. Is it okay?
Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hi, Shruti. A lot of what you said I resonate with. I've been doing yoga for more than 25 years. I haven't counted. And during this time, I have kept myself fit, active, mentally positive. But in a day, I had at least 3 people call me up and ask me, have you taken the COVID shot? Have you taken the COVID shot? So my mind was reasoning many things, and I did not feel I needed to take it. But then I come from a family of very knowledgeable people, and almost everyone has taken it. So finally I succumbed and I took it 3 days ago, and I still have temperature and very bad body ache. So did I do the right thing? Do you
All right.
think I did the right thing? I feel I should not have taken it still. So maybe that's why my body is really giving me a good whipping. Just a question.
Yes, so it's thank you for sharing and asking, because I think this is the need of the hour, right? When we hear our inner voice telling us yes or no, and if we go with yes, we are 100% in control of what we choose. If even 99% is saying yes and 1% is giving space for that uncertainty, your body is as manipulative as your mind is. So to you, to your body and truth of doing 25 years of your practice, your gut intuition told you, I don't need it. I will survive without the vaccine. But because of the pressure, it is only normal. We live in society, we live with our loved ones, and sometimes we do things to satisfy their requirements. All right. So I would suggest, Biju, to ask for forgiveness of your body, right? Speak to your body right now, because you can't change anything. All right. So right and wrong, I would not say, because actually, if you ask me, there's no right and wrong. So what works for you is what you choose, and you can say maybe it's right for me. But don't worry about it. Take a paracetamol. What you can do is, sorry, I think somebody's saying something.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so if we can take this question over a call, maybe I can assist you personally and make you feel better sooner, as the way your body and mind deserves it, Biju. But hoping that your temperatures come down and you feel better. Now just clear it out of your mind. Don't go to question and analyze, did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing?
Yeah, I'm most certainly apologizing to my body because I had to go against my gut instinct. I mean, not even gut, it's my
And it's completely okay. Sometimes we make mistakes and we learn from them.
Not really. It's like having a passport today. You want to live in your family, you better have a Covishield anti-vaccine.
Yeah, sometimes it gets difficult, but nevertheless, it's the past. Let it go. It's done and dusted, and you just look to the days ahead.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
There's one more question in the chat. The parasympathetic nervous system gets activated by the medium of meditation for the body to heal. Is that right?
That is perfectly right. If you see each of our systems, whether it's our cardiovascular system, whether it's our nervous system, everything gets the direction from the brain. It's a chemical reaction that starts there and then is directed to the various parts of the body. So when you are meditating, what happens? You are clearing out the imbalances of chemical reaction in your brain. And therefore the body has the capacity to completely heal, which is also one of the tools that I shared. Affirmations, if you look at it, you would ask, how would a cancer patient recover with just writing down with a black pen? But you are choosing what you want to fill your conscious and subconscious mind, and you're choosing your brain to create the right chemical reaction for yourself.
Thank you. Anything else? Maybe you could share one or two of those pranayams.
Yes, I would definitely like to share the Brahmary, which is not just for COVID, but overall mental balance, physical health, and emotional stability. So I think that is something that I would share with you guys. Have we done with all the question answers? Have I left anything unanswered?
Any more questions before we go to the pranayams?
All right. So let us all take a deep breath to allow whatever was spoken about to settle down. You can place your hands in Chin Mudra onto your palms. Gently close your eyes. Keep your spine upright. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Be completely aware of the incoming flow of breath, oxygen into your body, outgoing flow of breath, carbon dioxide out of your body. Listen to the sound of your breath. Feel your lungs and stomach expand on the inhalation and contract on the exhalation. A few more mindful breaths in and out, bringing that sync with yourself. And very slowly and gently open your eyes. All right, so Brahmary Pranayama is basically sound vibrations created for the senses in our head and face, considering the noise is like the buzzing of a bee or the Omkar sound. So I'd like for you all to observe first as I do it, and then we will practice again. All right. The breath is very important here. You breathe in normally, and when you breathe out, you make the mer sound or the buzzing of the bee sound. All right. Now there are hand gestures, because if you see, just as our leg is connected to every part of the body, the hand also is connected. So you're going to use your thumb into your earlobes, locking your ear. Then release your fingers and place it above your eyelid, below your eyelid, nose, and wherever the rest of the fingers are resting up on your face. So the index finger over your eyelid, and then just place all of them by the side. Now here, very important to lock your earlobe, because when you do that, you are pressing a pressure point here that is actually doing the job of effect of the pranayama. Right? So even if you can't hold your face, you can even close all your fingers towards your palm. So again, creating pressure, all right? And keep it like this and chant. So I suggest all of you to watch me before you practice it. Make sure you are in upright seated posture. All right. Make sure if you're sitting on a chair, you can place both your feet onto the ground, root it into the ground, and keep your feet parallel. Keep your back upright. Inhalation, normal. Exhalation, making the ma sound. I will do it now. You can observe. Right. So now you must have questions of, I can't take so much in, I can't make such a long noise. Do not compare to anybody, your own body capacity. So if you're taking 3 to 4 seconds to breathe in As long as you're exhaling, make the m sound. So don't have to, even after you finish exhaling, you're trying to hold the m sound and you're actually choking yourself. All right. Sukham Stiram Asanam in Sanskrit, comfortable, steady posture, applies for any of the yoga practices. So we can have all of you do it now together. Place your thumbs into your ears, lock it, place your fingers. Inhale, exhale, make the m sound. 2 to 3 times till you feel the vibrations throughout your body. And once you have finished 2 to 3 breaths, you can gently release and relax your hands and slowly open your eyes. Right, so this pranayama is what we call Brahmary Pranayama. You can start off with 10 breaths and then slowly, according to your capacity, extend to 21 breaths. Now here with any pranayama, we can add an intention. All right, for example, if you're feeling breathless, or we have a cough or cold, or even for high temperature, right? Or in general immunity, we can say we are fit and healthy away from the virus, right? So that can be the intention where your body knows this is what you want for yourself. And it is working towards building that natural immunity, clearing out all the toxins within your system. Right, so that's something you all can practice, you all can share it with your loved ones. Don't wait for the virus to hit you. Rather, precaution is better than cure. Try and build your immunity such that the virus can be there by your side, but it has no capacity to affect you. All right, your mind should be so sure that nothing is going to affect you. And I think if all of us can do that, we will get rid of the virus sooner. Over to you, Sajani auntie.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Are there any questions regarding this pranayama? Anybody?
Yes, this is Nitya here. I have a question.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so you said that, Shruti, you were talking about a pressure point at the ear lobe, right? Now, for some reason, when I was doing the Brahmary, I had my thumbs in my ears and I could not do anything about getting that touching my lobe at all.
All right, so don't worry. You wouldn't have felt the senses because of the concentration of the sound that you were creating. So as long as you don't feel air coming out of your ear, it's just to lock your ears. It'll almost feel like you can't hear. Like, you know, even if I'm talking, it's at a very distance. So don't worry about pressing or feeling the pressure. It's happening. As long as you're locking your ears, it's already the touch of your thumb towards that part is already happening. So you don't have to worry. You can make the sound and enjoy your pranayama practice.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on the pranayama? No?
We do have one on the chat, Sajani auntie. Does this work for turning COVID positive to turning negative, or is there any other technique? All right. So the Brahmary Pranayama does have the capacity of, like I said, creating natural immunity. So with regular practice, in case you can't do 10 breaths, you can limit it between 5 and 7, and you can do it every 2 to 3 hours. It doesn't take long, right? It also, if you see, just with 2-3 breaths, you feel a lot more calmer. You feel like everything is subdued. right? Because one, your nervous system is at ease. And now when you're COVID positive, there's a lot of anxiety. What could happen? Will I recover? There's a lot of doubt because you are in a vulnerable situation. We cannot say, if I get the virus and overnight it's going to go away. No. Right? So you can practice this. What's happening, as much as the natural immunity is trying, you're adding support to that to fight or clear out the virus from your system. That's why I say 7 to 10 days at home, you will get rid of the virus. Assume the individual is all right. So have I cleared your question, Mr. Ramesh?
Yeah, I think so. Is there anyone else who has any questions?
I think someone's asking, how long do we do the practice? So it can be done every day. If you're doing it at one shot, you can start anywhere between 10 breaths to 21 breaths. All right, so that can be the practice. If you want to build your immunity and you wish to do so a couple of times during the day, a minimum of 2 to 3 hours, right? Because continuously what happens, these vibration also tends to energize too much, which is also not very good at this point. Keeping in balance is very important. So if you want to practice it more repetitive, you can do it between 5 to 7 breaths and a gap of 2 to 3 hours. I think that was Bharat Reddy. Have I answered your question?
Any other questions, anybody? Okay, I don't see anything. Everyone's really enjoyed it. And you've told us about the affirmations, writing them 21 times. You've told us about the Brahmary Pranayama. Any other tip you can give before we end?
I think I covered the physical practice, I covered the mental space, and now coming to nutrition is natural boosting immunity is your kashayam, right? So all you need to have is tulsi or ajwain leaves, a little bit of ginger, cloves that can be added. Now all you need to do is take the leaves, wash them nicely, put it into a vessel to boil. Now add very little water first. So just where the leaves are floating. All right, very little water, boil it. When you see the bubbling of the water, lower the flame, add your quantity of water. All right, so then add your ginger, cloves, all of that you want to add. If you don't want ginger and cloves, you just want to do the ajwain and the tulsi, that's also fine. Okay, now mix it up, add a little bit of pepper, and the last thing is your turmeric powder or curcumin. So most often what's happening, the curcumin's added first. Curcumin is so strong that it will cut out the effect of the other ingredients. So add that in the end. Make sure you're having it hot. Pull out the water from the vessel, pour it in a glass. You can add your honey as well as a little bit of lime. So squeeze a few drops of lime, and it's actually very tasty if you ask me. So once you're on it, you will have it repetitively. It's also very soothing for the mind. So as much as we are, information of loved ones being under the situation, a lot of people losing their lives, right? We need to, as individuals sitting in our home, let us visualize more positivity, recovery for those in the vulnerable situation. Because I think together, if we put in that energy, we are going to fight it more stronger. But if you're going to be selfish, sitting in our home saying, I'm not affected, so I'll just look at my phone, pass on the message, and just feel pity, I don't think we're being responsible human beings. Leave alone who's suffering, because if you look at the virus, it's not sparing anybody. So let us forget about the negativity. Let us focus on being human, if not anything else, being kind and offering that support system to those in need in whatever little way we can.
Thank you so much, Shruti.
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody has any questions, or do we end the session? Any more questions about all that she's spoken about, whether it's nutrition, it's pranayama, it's physical activity, affirmations? Any questions on anything? I don't think there are. That's been extremely clear. So thank you so much, Shruti. It was really wonderful. And we look forward to having you at the school and having a proper, workshop with yoga and all that. And now I ask Revati to kindly propose a vote of thanks. It's over to you, Revati.
Thank you, Shruti.
Thank you so much.
To unmute, Revati, we can't hear you.
Can't hear. Revati?
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Shruti. Exactly what we needed now at this point of time, what we are going through. Really wonderful talk, I'm telling you, really wonderful. And I think everybody would have benefited today from your talk. And I love the part when you said, keep your mind immune, more than, you've only been talking about physical immunity. When you say keep your mind immune, I know, that I think it was the gist of your talk today. And many of us here, have been friends of your mothers for a number of years. So, I mean, it's a matter of great pride for us, to see you now all grown up and this lovely, young, smart young lady that you are now. We're all so proud of you. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think I owe it to all of you all. I remember coming as a little girl to Lakshmi Auntie's house, and I think it's all that I've learned from all of you today. I think if at all I'm here speaking, it's a lot of you who added value, and of course my mom and dad, and all the support systems. So I can't take much credit, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you so much, Shruti.
For a
It's
lovely
been
satsang.
wonderful.